Fly this helicopter and I'll marry you." Victoria Sterling's voice echoed through the hangar. 50 employees burst into laughter. Phones came out. Cameras pointed at the black janitor in the gray uniform. Marcus Webb looked at the $20 million aircraft, then at the CEO smirking in her designer heels, then at the crowd waiting for him to crumble. He smiled. "Deal." The laughter stopped. 10 minutes later, the Valkyrie V9 roared into the sky. Marcus Webb flew combat maneuvers that made Air Force veterans gasp. When he landed, Victoria Sterling's face had turned white as bone. She didn't know she had just mocked a man who trained half the military pilots in America. She was about to find out. Comment your city below so I can see how far this story travels. You missed a spot. Victoria Sterling didn't slow down, didn't look at him, just pointed at the floor near the elevator and kept walking. Her heels clicked against the marble like gunshots. Marcus Webb looked at the floor. It was spotless. He had mopped it 20 minutes ago. He mopped it again anyway. Behind him, 2 executives laughed quietly. "She's brutal," one whispered. "That's why she's worth $2 billion. Marcus said nothing. Wrung out the mop. Kept working. This was his life now. 2 years, 3 months, 14 days. He counted every single one. His alarm rang at 4:47 a.m. Not 4:45. Not 4:50. Exactly 4:47. Old habits. The kind that kept you alive when everything else wanted you dead. Marcus swung his legs off the bed. His left knee screamed. It always screamed now. Shrapnel had a long memory. "Daddy." Zoe stood in the doorway, 11 years old. Her mother's eyes, looking at her, felt like a knife between the ribs. The good kind of pain. The kind that reminded him why he was still breathing. "It's early, baby girl. Go back to sleep. I made you something." She walked toward him holding a piece of paper. Marcus turned on the lamp. The drawing showed a helicopter, a man inside it, a little girl waving from the ground. Above it all, in purple crayon, "My hero." Marcus's throat closed up. "That's beautiful, Zoe." "It's you, when you used to fly." "I know." "Do you miss it?" The question hit him somewhere deep, somewhere he had locked away and tried to forget. "I miss a lot of things," he said, "but I have you. That's more than enough." Zoe climbed onto the bed. "Mama said you could fly anything. She said you were the best pilot in the whole world. She said even the generals were scared of how good you were." Marcus pulled her close. She smelled like strawberry shampoo from the dollar store. He breathed her in like oxygen. "Your mama exaggerated." "No, she didn't. I found your box." Marcus went still. "What box?" "The one in your closet, with the medals, and the flag, and the picture of you with the president." "Damn it." "Zoe, that box is private." "Why do you hide it?" "Because that's not who I am anymore." "But why?" Marcus looked at his daughter. She deserved the truth. She also deserved a father who showed up every day instead of chasing ghosts. "Because being your daddy is better than being a hero," he said. "Heroes leave, daddies stay. I'm staying." Zoe hugged him tight. "You're still my hero." "I know, baby. I know." The drive to work took 37 minutes. His Honda had 187,000 miles on it. No air conditioning. Check engine light permanently on. But it ran. That was enough. Marcus pulled into the employee lot at Aero Sky Corporation. He parked in the back corner far from the executive section. Mercedes, BMW, Tesla. A red Ferrari that cost more than he would earn in 10 years. He didn't look at them with envy. He had possessed things once, nice things. Then Denise got sick. The medical bills came. The savings disappeared. Now he had a daughter, a broken-down car, and a mop. He also had something else. Something hidden in his wallet that nobody at this company had ever seen. Some secrets were worth keeping. The maintenance room smelled like bleach and burnt coffee. 3 other janitors sat at a folding table playing cards. Jerome looked up when Marcus walked in. "Webb early again. What's wrong with you, brother?" "Couldn't sleep." "Bad dreams." Something like that. Jerome was 62, 15 years cleaning floors at Arrow Sky. Knew everybody's secrets but kept his mouth shut. Good man, solid. "You hear about the shitstorm?" Jerome asked. "What shitstorm?" "The new helicopter, the fancy one, the Valkyrie." Marcus grabbed his cleaning cart. "What about it?" "Their test pilot broke both arms skiing in Aspen. Rich people problems right now, they got nobody to fly the damn thing. Launch is in 2 weeks. The CEO is losing her mind." "Victoria Sterling doesn't have a mind to lose." Jerome laughed. "Careful, brother. Wall's got ears around here." Marcus shrugged. "She called me boy last week. I was taking out her trash. She looked right through me and told her assistant to make sure the boy empties the bin completely this time." Damn. "I'm 44 years old. I have a master's degree. I've been places and done things she couldn't imagine in her worst nightmares." Marcus's voice stayed flat, controlled. "But to her, I'm just the boy." Jerome shook his head. "That's how they see us, man. Always have, always will." "Maybe." Marcus pushed his cart toward the door. "Maybe not." By 9 a.m., Marcus had cleaned 3 executive bathrooms, 2 conference rooms, and the main lobby. He was emptying trash in the engineering wing when he heard shouting. "This is unacceptable!" Victoria Sterling's voice. Marcus didn't look up. Looking at Victoria was dangerous. She took eye contact from staff as a challenge. He kept emptying trash. His ears captured everything. "Ms. Sterling, we've contacted every qualified pilot." "Then contact more." "There aren't any more. Not with military-grade certification. Not in 2 weeks. So find someone here. You're engineers. Someone must know how to fly." Silence. Marcus tied off the trash bag, moved to the next can. Closer now. Close enough to see Victoria's face. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. Cracks in the makeup. Hair slightly wrong. Desperation leaking through the ice. Dr. Raymond Chen, head of flight systems, spoke carefully. "Ms. Sterling, the Valkyrie is complex. The AI systems are revolutionary, but untested in real conditions. We can't risk. Victoria stepped toward him. "You want to talk about risk? 3 years of development. $40 million. Investors from 7 countries arriving in 2 weeks. That's risk. Finding a pilot is your job." "Ma'am, we're trying." "Try harder, or start cleaning out your desk." She turned and stormed away. Every employee in the hallway flattened against the walls. She passed within inches of Marcus without seeing him. Invisible. Just the way he needed to be. Dr. Chen exhaled after she left. His hands were shaking. "That woman is going to get someone killed," he muttered. Marcus should have stayed quiet, should have kept moving, should have protected his secret. Instead, he spoke. "The Valkyrie's systems aren't the problem." Chen turned. His eyes widened, like a chair had started talking. "Excuse me?" "The AI-assisted flight controls," Marcus said. "Dual redundant fly-by-wire, triple gyroscopic stabilization, conservative design, multiple fail-safes. The aircraft is solid. The problem isn't the machine. It's finding someone who trusts it." Chen stared at him for a long moment. "How do you know that?" I read. "The technical specifications are classified." "Not all of them. The patent filings are public. So are the FAA certification documents, if you know where to look." Chen's expression shifted, confusion becoming curiosity. "Who are you?" "Marcus Webb, maintenance staff." "No, I mean, who are you?" Marcus met his eyes, held them for 3 seconds, then looked away. "Nobody," he said. "Just nobody." He pushed his cart down the hallway, felt Chen's stare burning into his back. That was stupid. That was careless. That was exactly the kind of thing that got you noticed. Being noticed got you questions. Questions led to answers. Answers led to the truth. And the truth was something Marcus Webb had buried 2 years, 3 months, and 14 days ago. His phone buzzed at 11:47 a.m. Marcus was cleaning windows overlooking Hangar 4. The Valkyrie V9 sat below, gleaming under the lights. Black and silver. Sleek as a predator. Beautiful. He checked the caller ID. Mountain View Elementary. His heart stopped. Hello? Mr. Webb. This is Principal Harrison. There's been an incident with Zoe. Is she hurt? Physically, she's fine, but she got into a fight. Another student made comments about her mother. Zoe pushed him. He hit his head. We have a zero-tolerance policy. She's being suspended for 3 days. Marcus closed his eyes. Can I talk to her? Shuffling. Then Zoe's voice, small and scared. Daddy! I'm here, baby. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, but he said Mama deserved to die. He said she died because God was punishing us. He said, stop, breathe. I couldn't let him say that. I couldn't. Marcus gripped the phone. His daughter. His little girl. Fighting battles she shouldn't have to fight. Listen to me, he said. You're not in trouble. Not with me. We'll talk about better ways to handle things. But you are not in trouble. Understand? Yes, Daddy. I'll pick you up after work. I love you. I love you too. He hung up, stood there for a moment, staring at the Valkyrie below. 3 days suspension. 3 days he couldn't afford daycare. 3 days of figuring out how to keep everything together. He was so tired of keeping everything together. The announcement came at 2:30 p.m. All employees report to Hangar 4. Mandatory meeting, 3 p.m. Jerome found Marcus in the break room. Here we go, Jerome said. The Ice Queen's about to melt down in front of everybody. Should be interesting. You coming? It's mandatory. I don't have a choice. None of us do, brother. None of us ever do. Hangar 4 was massive. The Valkyrie V9 sat in the center like a crown jewel. Diagnostic equipment surrounded it. Computer terminals blinked. Engineers clustered in nervous groups. Executives stood near the front in expensive suits. Administrative staff behind them. And at the very back near the walls, the maintenance crew. The invisible people. Marcus found a spot next to Jerome, crossed his arms, waited. At exactly 3 p.m., Victoria Sterling walked to the front. Black dress, 6-inch heels, face like carved marble. She looked at the crowd the way a queen looks at servants. Thank you for coming, she said. Her voice didn't sound thankful. I'll be brief. She gestured at the Valkyrie. This aircraft represents the future of Aero Sky. 3 years of development. $40 million. Technology that will revolutionize private aviation. She paused. And we have a problem. The hangar went quiet. Our test pilot is unavailable. We've contacted every qualified replacement on the continent. None can meet our timeline. Our launch is in 2 weeks. Our investors arrive in 10 days. She looked around the room. Her eyes swept across the crowd like searchlights. I'm told we have brilliant engineers here. Scientists who understand every system on this aircraft. Experts who spent years designing it. Her voice hardened. And not one of you has the courage to fly it. Silence. So here's what's going to happen. I don't care about credentials right now. I don't care about job titles. If anyone in this room can fly this helicopter, step forward. Do it now. Nobody moved. Anyone at all. Pilot's license. Military experience. Anything. Silence. Victoria's mask cracked. Frustration leaked through. Cowards, she spat. I'm surrounded by cowards. She started pacing. Her heels cracked against the concrete like whip strikes. 3 years of work, hundreds of employees. And this is how it ends, because nobody has the guts to... She stopped. Her eyes had landed on something. Someone. Marcus felt it before he saw it. That prickling sensation on the back of his neck. The feeling of being targeted. Victoria was staring directly at him. "You," she said. Every head in the hangar turned. "Yes, you, the janitor." She started walking toward him. The crowd parted like water before a shark. "I've seen you," she said. "Watching the helicopter. Every day. You think I don't notice, but I do. What are you looking at?" Marcus kept his voice level. "Just admiring the aircraft, ma'am." "Admiring it?" She laughed. Cold. Sharp. A janitor admiring a $20 million helicopter. How precious. Snickers rippled through the crowd. Victoria stopped 3 feet from Marcus, close enough for him to smell her perfume, close enough to see the cruelty in her eyes. "Tell me," she said, "do you even understand what that machine does? Do you know what fly-by-wire means? Do you know anything about aviation at all, or do you just like looking at shiny things?" Marcus said nothing. "That's what I thought." She turned to face the crowd, gesturing at Marcus like he was an exhibit. "This is what I'm working with, people. A janitor who stares at helicopters he'll never understand. It's almost sad." More laughter. Louder now. Victoria turned back to Marcus. Her smile widened. "Tell you what, since you love that helicopter so much, why don't you fly it?" The laughter exploded. "Fly it successfully, land it in one piece, and I'll marry you. Right here, right now, in front of everyone." People doubled over. Someone clapped. Phones pointed at Marcus from every direction. This was the greatest entertainment they'd had in months. "What do you say, janitor?" Victoria's voice dripped with venom. "Want to be my husband?" Jerome grabbed Marcus's arm. "Don't, brother. She's baiting you. Walk away." Marcus looked at Jerome, then at Victoria, then at the Valkyrie V9 sitting silent and patient under the lights. He thought about Zoe's drawing. My hero. He thought about Denise lying in that hospital bed holding his hand at the end. Don't let them make you small, Marcus. You were born to fly. He thought about 2 years, 3 months, and 14 days of being invisible. "Okay," he said. The laughter died. Victoria blinked. "What?" "I said okay." Marcus removed Jerome's hand from his arm. "I'll fly it." Dead silence. Victoria stared at him. For the first time, uncertainty flickered across her face. "You're joking." "No, ma'am. I don't joke about flying." "You can't be serious. You're a janitor." "I'm a lot of things." "You'll kill yourself." "Maybe. Maybe not." Victoria's eyes narrowed. She didn't like this. Didn't like losing control. "Fine," she snapped. "You want to embarrass yourself? Go ahead. Security won't stop you. When you crash and burn, at least we'll have video evidence of your stupidity." She stepped aside and gestured toward the Valkyrie. "It's all yours, janitor." Marcus walked forward. The crowd parted for him. Not with respect, with morbid curiosity. The way people slow down to watch a car accident. Someone muttered, "Dead man walking." Someone else laughed nervously. Marcus reached the Valkyrie, stopped, looked at it for a long moment. Then he did something strange. He started walking around the aircraft, slowly, methodically. His hands ran along the fuselage, checked the rotor assembly, examined the tail boom, tested the landing skids. The laughter faded. Dr. Chen pushed to the front of the crowd. His face had gone pale. "What is he doing?" someone asked. "Pre-flight inspection," Chen whispered. "Military standard pre-flight inspection. How does he know?" Marcus opened the cockpit door, climbed inside, settled into the pilot's seat like he belonged there. His hands moved across the controls, not hesitantly, not curiously, automatically. Switches flipped, systems activated. The instrument panel lit up in perfect sequence. Chen grabbed Victoria's arm. "Ms. Sterling, he's doing the startup procedure correctly. That's a classified sequence. Nobody outside our flight team should know." The engine roared to life. The rotor began to spin. The wine built to a scream. Papers flew across the hangar. People stumbled backward. Victoria's hair whipped around her face, but she didn't move. Couldn't move. Could only stare. The Valkyrie V9 lifted off the ground. 6 inches. 1 foot. 3 feet. 10 feet. It rose straight up, steady as an elevator. No wobble. No hesitation. Perfect control. Then, Marcus Webb showed them who he really was. He banked hard left. The Valkyrie screamed through a tactical turn that made fighter pilots gasp. A barrel roll that shouldn't be possible in an aircraft that size. A diving attack run that brought him 20 feet above the crowd before pulling up in a perfect combat climb. Maneuvers that weren't in any civilian manual. Maneuvers that were only taught in one place. "Oh my God," Dr. Chen breathed. "Those are combat patterns. Air Force combat patterns. Who is he?" Victoria couldn't answer. Couldn't speak. Could only watch as the janitor flew her $20 million helicopter like he was born in the cockpit. 3 minutes. 3 minutes of flying that would become legend in the aviation industry. Then Marcus brought the Valkyrie down. The landing was so gentle that a coffee cup on a nearby table didn't even ripple. The engine powered down. The rotors slowed. Silence fell over the hangar like a funeral shroud. Marcus Webb climbed out of the cockpit. He walked toward Victoria Sterling. She stood frozen, her mouth open, her face white as bone. Marcus reached into his back pocket. He pulled out his wallet. Old leather, cracked and worn. 20 years of memories. He opened it slowly, removed a laminated card, placed it in Victoria Sterling's trembling hand. She looked down at it, and the world she thought she understood shattered into a million pieces. Major Marcus Webb, United States Air Force F-22, Raptor combat pilot, Distinguished Flying Cross, Bronze Star with Valor. 324 combat missions. Dr. Chen snatched the card from her hands. His eyes went wide. "Marcus Webb," he whispered. "The Marcus Webb Ghost Squadron. You flew the Kandahar extraction. You saved 43 lives in a single mission. They teach your tactics at the Air Force Academy. You're a legend." Marcus said nothing. Victoria's voice came out cracked, broken. "Why?" she whispered. "Why are you here cleaning floors?" Marcus looked at her for a long moment. "Because my wife died," he said quietly. "Because the medical bills took everything. Because my daughter needs a father who comes home every night. Because when the military was done with me, the civilian world didn't want a broken-down pilot with a bad knee and no corporate connections." He paused. "Because I needed a job, and you were hiring." He took back his ID card, slipped it into his wallet. "About that marriage proposal," he said. Victoria flinched. Marcus smiled. It was a real smile, warm, almost kind. "I think we should start with coffee." He turned and walked toward the exit. The crowd parted in silence. Nobody was laughing anymore. The hangar doors closed behind Marcus with a heavy metallic thud. He walked toward the parking lot, his footsteps echoing in the empty corridor. His hands were shaking. He shoved them into his pockets so nobody would see. 24 months of hiding, gone in 3 minutes. "Webb! Webb!" Jerome's voice, running footsteps behind him. Marcus didn't stop. Jerome caught up, grabbed his shoulder, spun him around. "Brother, what the hell was that?" "I flew a helicopter." "You flew a helicopter like you were born in one, like you've done it 1,000 times. Jerome's eyes were wild. "Who are you?" "I'm the same person I was this morning." No, you're not. This morning you were Marcus Webb, quiet janitor who keeps to himself. Now you're what did that engineer call you, a legend." Marcus pulled away. "I need to pick up my daughter." "Don't walk away from me, man. We've worked together for 2 years. 2 years. You never said a word. Not one damn word." "Would it have changed anything?" "Hell yes. It would have changed something. I wouldn't have let you mop floors while executives treated you like dirt. I wouldn't have." "Jerome." Marcus's voice was quiet but firm. "I needed that job. I needed to be invisible. I had my reasons. What reasons? My reasons. Jerome stared at him for a long moment. Then something in his face softened. Your wife, he said slowly. The medical bills. That's why you're here. Marcus didn't answer. He didn't need to. Damn, brother. Jerome shook his head. I'm sorry. I didn't know. Nobody knew. That was the point. Jerome was quiet for a moment. Then he laughed, a low, wondering sound. You know what's going to happen now, right? That video is probably already on the internet. By tomorrow, you'll be the most famous janitor in America. I know. You're not scared. Marcus thought about Zoe, about the drawing, about everything he had built in the quiet corners of invisibility. Terrified, he admitted. But some things are worth being scared for. He started walking again. Webb, Jerome called after him. Marcus turned. For what it's worth, that was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. You showed them. You showed all of them. Marcus nodded slowly. I'll see you tomorrow, Jerome. Yeah, if you still have a job tomorrow. If I still have a job. He walked out into the afternoon sun. His knee was screaming. His heart was pounding. But somewhere deep inside, in a place he had locked away for 2 years, something felt alive again. The sky was endless blue above him. He had almost forgotten how much he missed it. So, Zoe was waiting on the bench outside the principal's office. Her eyes were red. Her backpack sat at her feet like a sad little companion. She saw Marcus and ran to him. Daddy! He caught her in his arms, held her tight. She was crying again. I'm sorry, she sobbed. I'm so sorry. I tried to be good. I tried to walk away. But he kept saying things about Mama and I couldn't. Shh, it's okay. I've got you. He held her until the crying stopped. Then he knelt down so they were eye to eye. Tell me what happened. Everything. Zoe wiped her nose with her sleeve. His name is Tyler. He sits behind me in class. He's always mean to everybody. Today we were talking about families, and I said my mama was in heaven and he laughed. He said heaven isn't real. He said my mama is just dead and rotting in the ground and I'll never see her again. Marcus felt his jaw tighten. Then he said God killed her because we're black, and God doesn't love black people. And everyone was laughing. Everyone except me. So you pushed him. I pushed him hard. He fell and hit his head on the desk. There was blood. Not a lot, but some. And then the teacher came, and everyone said I started it, and nobody told her what Tyler said first. Marcus closed his eyes. His daughter, 11 years old, fighting battles that grown men ran from. Zoe, look at me. She looked up, tears still on her cheeks. What Tyler said was wrong, cruel, evil. Your mama was the best person I ever knew, and she's in heaven watching over you right now. Don't ever let anyone tell you different. Then why am I the one in trouble? Because the world isn't fair, baby. It never has been. People like Tyler say terrible things and get away with it. People like us fight back and get punished. He paused. But that doesn't mean we stop fighting. It means we learn to fight smarter. How? By being better. By being stronger. By proving them wrong every single day. Psha. He stood up and took her hand. Come on, let's go home. They walked to the car together. Zoe climbed into the passenger seat. Marcus started the engine. Daddy? Yeah, baby. Something happened at your work today, didn't it? Marcus glanced at her. What makes you say that? You look different. Your eyes look different. Like when you used to come home from flying. Kids. They saw everything. Something happened, he admitted. Good. Something or bad something. I don't know yet. We'll find out tomorrow. Did you fly? The question hung in the air. Marcus gripped the steering wheel. Yeah, baby. I flew. Zoe's face lit up. Really? You really flew. I really flew. Was it amazing? Marcus thought about the controls in his hands, the engine roaring, the ground falling away, the sky opening up like an old friend welcoming him home. Yeah, he said quietly. It was amazing. I knew it. Zoe leaned her head against the window, smiling. I knew you were still a pilot. I told Tyler you were. He didn't believe me. You told him about me? I told him my daddy used to fly jets and helicopters for the Air Force. I told him you have medals. He said I was lying. He said janitors can't be pilots. Marcus felt something twist in his chest. That's why he said those things about Mama. He said I was making everything up to feel special. He said my whole family was probably losers and liars. 11 years old, defending her father's honor, getting suspended for it. Zoe, I need you to understand something. Marcus pulled the car over, turned to face her. What I do for work doesn't define who I am. I clean floors because I needed a job that let me be home for you. That doesn't make me less of a person. I know that, Daddy. Do you? Because when people like Tyler say things about our family, you don't need to fight them with your fists. You fight them by living your life, by being excellent, by proving every single day that you're better than their small, hateful words. Zoe nodded slowly. Is that what you do at work when people are mean to you? Marcus thought about Victoria Sterling, about the executives who walked past him like he wasn't there, about 2 years of swallowing his pride because his daughter needed a roof over her head. Yeah, he said. That's what I do. Doesn't it hurt? Every single day. Then why do you do it? Marcus reached over and touched her face. Because you're worth it. Because keeping you safe and fed and in school is worth any amount of hurt. Because your mama asked me to take care of you, and I promised her I would. Zoe's eyes filled with tears again, but she was smiling. I love you, Daddy. I love you too, baby girl. More than flying. More than anything. He pulled back onto the road. Tomorrow would bring chaos. He could feel it coming like a storm on the horizon. But tonight, he had his daughter. He had dinner to make. He had homework to help with. Tonight, he was still invisible. Tomorrow, the whole world would know his name. Bo. The video hit the internet at 6:47 p.m. By 7:30, it had 100,000 views. By midnight, 2 million. Marcus didn't see any of it. He was helping Zoe with her math homework when his phone started buzzing. He ignored it. Then it buzzed again, and again, and again. Daddy, your phone is going crazy. I know, baby. Ignore it. Maybe it's important. Nothing is more important than you finishing this worksheet. At 9 p.m., he put Zoe to bed, tucked her in, kissed her forehead. Daddy. Yeah. Whatever happens tomorrow, I'm proud of you. How do you know something's going to happen tomorrow? Because your phone hasn't stopped buzzing for 2 hours and you won't look at it. That means you're scared to see what's on it. Too smart. Way too smart. Get some sleep, baby. You too, Daddy. Promise? I promise. He closed her door and walked to the kitchen, sat down at the table, stared at his phone for a long time. Then he picked it up. 247 missed calls, 1-847 text messages, 89 voicemails. He opened the social media app he barely ever used. His face was everywhere. Janitor shocks CEO with incredible helicopter flight. Air Force hero works as janitor, billionaire CEO humiliated. Fly this helicopter and I'll marry you, the video that broke the internet. Marcus scrolled through the comments. This man is a legend. The way he just smiled and said, deal, ice cold. Victoria Sterling is cancelled. Who treats people like that? He flew combat maneuvers in a civilian helicopter. Do you understand how insane that is? 324 combat missions, distinguished flying cross, and he's mopping floors while some trust fund baby mocks him. This country is broken. Find this man's GoFundMe. I want to donate. The quiet ones always have the best secrets. Marcus set his phone down. So this was it. The invisible man had become visible. He wasn't ready. But ready or not, the sun would rise tomorrow. And everything would be different. That day, he couldn't sleep. At 2 a.m. he gave up trying, made a pot of coffee, sat at the kitchen table in the dark. His wallet sat in front of him. He opened it, looked at the photo of Denise. She was laughing in the picture. They had been at the beach. Zoe was 5 years old building sandcastles. Denise had turned to him with that smile that always made his heart stop and said, "Take a picture of me being happy." He took the picture. 3 years later, she was gone. "I don't know what to do, baby," he whispered to the photograph. "I spent 2 years building a quiet life, a safe life. Now it's all exploding, and I don't know how to protect Zoe from it." The photograph didn't answer. It never did. But sometimes, if he was quiet enough, he could almost hear Denise's voice in his head. "You were never meant to be invisible, Marcus. You were meant to fly." "Flying costs too much," he said out loud. "It cost me my career. Almost cost me my life. I can't risk that again. Not with Zoe depending on me." Who says you have to risk anything? Maybe this is the universe giving you a second chance. Maybe this is the door opening that you've been waiting for. Or maybe it's a trap. Maybe Victoria Sterling is going to fire me tomorrow and I'll lose everything. Then you'll find something else. You always do. You survived combat. You survived losing your career. You survived losing me. You can survive this. Marcus closed his eyes. "I miss you so much." "I know, baby. I miss you too. But Zoe needs you to be brave now. She needs to see her daddy stand tall. Show her what courage looks like." A tear rolled down his cheek. "I'm scared, Denise." "Good. That means you're about to do something that matters." He sat there until the coffee got cold. Then he got up, showered, put on his janitor's uniform, and drove to work. The parking lot was chaos. News vans lined the street. Reporters stood outside the gates with cameras and microphones. Security guards were turning people away left and right. Marcus pulled up to the employee entrance. A guard he didn't recognize stepped in front of his car. "Sorry, sir, employees only. No media." "I am an employee." The guard checked his clipboard. "Name?" "Marcus Webb." The guard's eyes went wide. "Holy shit, you're him." He turned and yelled to another guard. "It's him, the guy from the video." Suddenly, cameras were pointing at his car. Reporters sprinted toward the gate. Flashbulbs exploded. "Mr. Webb, can we get a comment?" "Marcus, over here. How does it feel to be a viral sensation?" "Did you really serve 324 combat missions?" "What do you have to say to Victoria Sterling?" Marcus kept his eyes forward. The gate opened. He drove through. In the rearview mirror, he could see the feeding frenzy continuing. Day 1 of his new life. It was already exhausting. The maintenance room was empty. No Jerome. No card games. No burnt coffee. Just a note on the table. "Webb report to Executive Conference Room A immediately. Management." Marcus looked at the note for a long moment. Then he walked upstairs. The executive floor was different from the rest of the building. Polished marble. Original artwork. The kind of quiet that came from money. Marcus had cleaned up here hundreds of times, but he had never been invited. The receptionist looked up as he approached. Her eyes widened. "Mr. Webb, they're expecting you. Go right in." He pushed open the conference room door. Victoria Sterling sat at the head of a massive table. To her left, 3 lawyers in expensive suits. To her right, Dr. Chen and 2 other executives Marcus didn't recognize. And in the corner, a woman with a camera, recording everything. "Sit down, Mr. Webb." Victoria's voice was flat, controlled, but her eyes were bloodshot. She hadn't slept either. Marcus sat. "Do you know why you're here?" "I have some guesses." Let me clarify then. Victoria slid a folder across the table. These are the results of our investigation. After your performance yesterday, we ran a background check, a thorough one. Marcus didn't touch the folder. Major Marcus Webb. Victoria read from her own copy. United States Air Force. Enlisted at 18. Rose through the ranks faster than anyone in your unit's history. Qualified on 17 different aircraft. Logged over 4,000 flight hours in combat zones. She turned a page. Kandahar Province, 2018. Your helicopter was hit by an RPG during an extraction mission. You lost an engine, lost hydraulic pressure, lost everything. Any other pilot would have crashed. You didn't. You flew that broken bird 47 miles to the nearest base, saved the lives of 43 soldiers and crew. She looked up at him. They gave you the Distinguished Flying Cross for that, plus a Bronze Star, plus a Purple Heart for the shrapnel that ended up in your leg. Marcus said nothing. Then 1 year later, a training accident. Mechanical failure. You ejected safely, but the impact crushed 2 vertebrae in your spine. The Air Force medically retired you with full honors. She closed the folder. 6 months after that, your wife was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. She died 8 months later. Medical bills totaled over $400,000. Your military pension and benefits covered some of it. The rest bankrupted you. The room was silent. You applied to civilian aviation companies. Victoria continued. All of them turned you down. Your injury disqualified you from commercial certification. Private companies didn't want the liability risk. She leaned back in her chair. So you came to Aero Sky, not to fly, just to clean floors, to pay off debt, to raise your daughter. And for 2 years you did exactly that, while we walked past you like you didn't exist. Marcus finally spoke. Is there a question in here somewhere? Yes. Victoria's voice cracked slightly. Why didn't you say something? Why didn't you tell anyone who you were? Would it have mattered? Of course it would have mattered. We would have. You would have what? Given me a pilot job that I'm not medically certified for. Put me in an office somewhere so you could feel good about supporting veterans. Used me for PR and then forgotten about me. Victoria flinched. I didn't want charity, Marcus said quietly. I wanted a paycheck. I wanted to go home to my daughter every night. I wanted to be left alone. And yesterday you embarrassed me in front of 50 people. You called me a coward. You wagered your hand in marriage like I was a circus animal performing tricks. His voice stayed calm, but his eyes were hard. So I reminded you that people are more than their job titles. The lawyer shifted uncomfortably. Dr. Chen cleared his throat. Mr. Webb, regardless of how we got here, the fact remains that you successfully test flew our most advanced aircraft. You performed maneuvers that our simulation models said were impossible. You proved the Valkyrie's capabilities beyond anything we expected. And? Marcus asked. And we want to offer you a position. Dr. Chen slid another folder across the table. Chief Test Pilot. Full benefits. Salary commensurate with your experience and expertise, plus a consulting role in our pilot training program. Marcus didn't open the folder. I'm not medically certified. We've spoken to the FAA, one of the lawyers said. Given your military record and yesterday's demonstration, they're willing to expedite a special certification process. We'll cover all costs, all medical evaluations, everything. And my daughter, I need to be home for her. Every night. Flexible hours, Victoria said. Her voice was different now. Smaller. We can work around your schedule, whatever you need. Marcus looked at her, really looked at her. She seemed diminished somehow. The Ice Queen had melted, or cracked at least. Why? He asked. Why what? Why are you doing this? Yesterday you wanted me humiliated. Today you're offering me a corner office. Victoria was quiet for a long moment. Because I was wrong, she finally said. Because I've spent my whole life believing that power comes from crushing people, from being harder and colder than everyone else. My father taught me that. He said compassion was weakness, said empathy would destroy me. She paused. Yesterday I watched a man I had treated like garbage fly circles around every pilot we've ever hired. And when he landed, he didn't yell at me, didn't threaten to sue, didn't demand anything. He just smiled and suggested we get coffee. Her voice cracked again. I don't know how to be that person. I don't know how to be kind. But I want to learn. And I think you might be the only person who can teach me. The room was silent. Marcus thought about Denise, about what she would say. Show her what courage looks like. Maybe courage wasn't just about flying helicopters. Maybe it was about giving people second chances, even people who didn't deserve them. I'll need some time to think about it, he said. Of course, take as long as you need. Marcus stood up, walked toward the door. Mr. Webb. He turned. Victoria's eyes were wet. I'm sorry. For yesterday. For the last 2 years. For every time I walked past you without seeing you. I'm truly sorry. Marcus nodded slowly. I believe you, he said. Then he walked out. Son, Jerome was waiting in the hallway. Well, what happened? Did they fire you? Are you suing? What's going on? They offered me a job. A real job. Chief test pilot. Jerome's mouth fell open. And I told them I'd think about it. Think about it. Think about it. Jerome grabbed his shoulders. Brother, this is everything you ever wanted. This is your second chance. It's complicated. How is it complicated? They're offering you the sky. Marcus looked at his friend. This man who had worked beside him for 2 years. Who had never treated him like anything less than equal. Because accepting means becoming visible, Marcus said quietly. Means putting myself out there again. Means risking everything I've built. What have you built? A quiet life hiding from the world. A safe life. For Zoe. Jerome's expression softened. Marcus, listen to me. I've known you for 2 years. You're the best man I've ever met. But you're also the saddest. You've been sleepwalking through life telling yourself it's enough just to survive. He gripped Marcus's arm. It's not enough. Not for you. Not for your daughter. Zoe needs to see her daddy live, not just exist. She needs to see you be the hero she already thinks you are. Marcus felt something break open inside him. I'm scared, Jerome. I know. But you've been scared before. And you flew anyway. Marcus thought about the Valkyrie. About the sky. About the feeling of the controls in his hands. About being alive again. I need to talk to Zoe, he said. Then go talk to her. I'll cover your shift. I don't have a shift anymore. Jerome laughed. Then I'll cover whoever's shift needs covering. Go. Talk to your daughter. Figure out your future. Marcus clasped his hand. Thank you, Jerome. For everything. Don't thank me yet. You buy me dinner after you sign that contract. Deal. Marcus walked out of Aero Sky Corporation. The reporters were still waiting at the gate. He didn't stop for them. He had somewhere more important to be. Zoe was sitting on the front porch when he pulled up. She ran to the car before he even turned off the engine. Daddy, you're home early. Why are you home early? Did something happen? Are you in trouble? He picked her up, held her tight. I'm not in trouble, baby. Then what happened? He carried her to the porch, sat down on the steps with her beside him. They offered me a job, a real job, flying helicopters. Zoe's eyes went wide. Really? Really? Are you going to take it? I don't know. That's why I came home. I wanted to talk to you about it. Why do you need to talk to me? You're the daddy. You decide things. Marcus smiled. Because this affects both of us. If I take this job, things will change. I might have to work longer hours sometimes. I might have to travel. Our quiet life won't be quiet anymore. Zoe thought about this for a moment. Will you be happy? The question hit Marcus in the chest. What? Will flying make you happy? Like really happy? Like how you were before Mama died? He looked at his daughter. 11 years old, wiser than anyone he knew. Yeah, baby. I think it would make me happy. Then you should do it. But what about you? What about our routine? What about Daddy? Zoe took his face in her small hands. I want you to be happy. I want to see you smile like you mean it. I want you to stop being sad all the time and pretending you're not. Tears welled up in Marcus's eyes. You're supposed to be the kid. I'm supposed to take care of you. We take care of each other. That's what Mama said. Remember? She said when she was gone we had to take care of each other. Marcus pulled her into a hug. When did you get so smart? I've always been smart. You just didn't notice because you were too busy being sad. He laughed. A real laugh. The first real laugh in a long, long time. I love you, Zoe. I love you too, Daddy. She pulled back and looked at him seriously. Now call them and say yes before they change their mind. Right now. Right now. Marcus looked at his daughter, at her mother's eyes shining back at him. He pulled out his phone. He dialed the number. It rang once. Mr. Webb. Victoria's voice, hesitant, hopeful. I'll take the job, Marcus said. Silence on the other end. Then, thank you. Thank you so much. One condition. Anything. My daughter comes to the office after school. Every day. She does her homework there. She watches me fly. She's part of this. Done. Absolutely done. Then I'll see you Monday. He hung up. Zoe was bouncing on the porch steps. You did it? You really did it. I really did. We have to celebrate. Can we get ice cream? Please, please, please. Marcus stood up and offered her his hand. Ice cream sounds perfect. They walked to the car together. Father and daughter. Starting a new chapter. The sky was turning gold with sunset. For the first time in 2 years, 3 months and 14 days, Marcus Webb looked up at it and smiled. He was going to fly again. Monday morning arrived like a held breath finally released. Marcus stood in front of his bathroom mirror at 5 a.m. Same time as always, same routine. But everything felt different. His janitor's uniform hung in the closet. He wouldn't be wearing it today. Instead, he put on the only dress shirt he owned. White, slightly wrinkled. He had ironed it 3 times the night before, but the creases wouldn't cooperate. Daddy! Zoe appeared in the doorway, rubbing her eyes. Hey, baby. You're up early. I couldn't sleep. I'm too excited. You're excited. I'm the one starting a new job. I know, but I get to come to your work after school and watch you fly, and it's going to be so cool. She bounced on her heels. Can I wear my special dress, the one Mama bought me? Marcus felt his chest tighten. The purple dress. Denise had bought it 2 weeks before she died. Said Zoe would need something nice for special occasions. Yeah, baby, you can wear the dress. Zoe ran back to her room. Marcus looked at himself in the mirror one more time. Here we go, he whispered. The drive to Arrow Sky felt different too. Same roads, same traffic. But Marcus wasn't pulling into the back lot anymore. The security guard at the main entrance checked his new ID badge and actually smiled. Welcome back, Mr. Webb. Executive parking is on your left. Executive parking. The words felt foreign in his mouth. He parked his beat-up Honda between a Mercedes and a BMW. It looked like a stray dog at a show competition. Nice car. Marcus turned. Victoria Sterling stood behind him, coffee cup in hand. She wasn't wearing her usual armor of designer clothes and perfect makeup, just slacks and a simple blouse. Her hair was pulled back in a ponytail. She looked almost human. It runs, Marcus said. That's what matters. She handed him the coffee. I didn't know how you take it. Black, okay? Black is fine. They stood there for a moment, two people who didn't know how to talk to each other anymore. I want to apologize again, Victoria said. For everything. You already apologized. I know, but once didn't feel like enough. She took a breath. My father was a cruel man, Marcus. He built this company by destroying people. He taught me that kindness was weakness, that empathy would get me eaten alive in business. And now I'm realizing that everything he taught me was wrong. You showed me that. In 3 minutes of flying, you showed me more about strength than he did in 30 years. Marcus sipped the coffee. It was good, expensive. People can change, he said. But it takes more than realizing you were wrong. It takes doing different. I know. That's why I have a proposal. Another marriage proposal? Victoria actually laughed. A real laugh surprised out of her. No, a business proposal. I want you to help me rebuild this company's culture, not just test helicopters. I want you to help me see the people I've been ignoring, the janitors, the security guards, the mailroom staff, all of them. That's a big job. I know, but I think you're the only one who can do it. She met his eyes. You've been both, executive and invisible. You understand both worlds. Help me build a bridge between them. Marcus thought about Jerome, about all the people he had worked beside for 2 years, the ones who showed up early and left late and never got a thank you. I'll help you, he said, but not because you're asking, because they deserve better. Fair enough. Victoria gestured toward the building. Ready to see your new office. I have an office. Corner office. Best view in the building. Marcus shook his head. I don't need a corner office. What do you need? A desk, a computer, and a window where I can see the helicopters. Victoria smiled. I think we can arrange that. They walked into the building together. Employees stopped and stared, whispered to each other. A few actually applauded. Marcus kept his eyes forward. He wasn't comfortable with attention. 2 years of invisibility had taught him to avoid it. But he was learning that some things couldn't be avoided. Dr. Chen met them at the elevator. Mr. Webb, I've been waiting for you. He pumped Marcus's hand enthusiastically. I have so many questions. The maneuvers you performed, the stress tests, the way you handled the lateral drift correction. Our simulations said those moves were impossible, but you made them look easy. They weren't easy. They were familiar. Familiar. You've done those maneuvers before. In combat. When your engine is on fire and you've got 43 souls depending on you, you learn what a helicopter can really do. Chen's eyes went wide. Would you be willing to document your techniques? Create a training protocol. What you know could revolutionize how we approach pilot instruction. That's why I'm here. The elevator doors opened. They stepped inside. Mr. Webb, Chen said quietly. I owe you an apology too. When you spoke to me in the hallway that day, about the flight systems, I dismissed you. You didn't know. That's not an excuse. You were right about everything. The AI stabilization, the redundancy systems, the manual override. He shook his head. I should have listened. Instead, I saw a janitor and assumed you had nothing to teach me. You're not the first. You won't be the last. But I want to be different. I want to learn. Chen took a breath. My father was a janitor, worked in a factory for 30 years, brilliant man, could fix any machine ever built. But nobody ever asked him for his opinion. Nobody ever saw past the uniform. Where is he now? Died 5 years ago. Heart attack. He was 62. Chen's voice cracked slightly. I became an engineer because of him, because I wanted to prove that a janitor's son could build things that mattered. But somewhere along the way, I forgot where I came from. The elevator stopped. The doors opened. Thank you for reminding me, Chen said. Marcus clasped his shoulder. Thank your father. He's the one who built you. They stepped out onto the executive floor. It looked different to Marcus now, not intimidating, just a place where people worked. Victoria led him to an office at the end of the hall. It wasn't the corner office she had mentioned. It was smaller, simpler, but it had a large window overlooking the testing hangar. The Valkyrie V9 sat below, gleaming under the lights. Is this okay? Victoria asked. This is perfect. She handed him a keycard. You have full access to every facility. The hangar, the testing equipment, the flight simulators, whatever you need. What about my daughter, after school? There's a room set up for her down the hall. Desk computer snacks. She can do her homework there and watch you through the observation window. Marcus felt something loosen in his chest, something he had been carrying for a long time. Thank you, he said. Really. Don't thank me yet. You haven't seen the paperwork. She gestured to a stack of documents on the desk that was at least 6 inches thick. Marcus laughed. Military bureaucracy prepared me for this. I hope so. HR needs everything signed by end of day. Victoria paused at the door. Marcus, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad I'm here too. She left. Marcus sat down at his desk, looked out the window at the Valkyrie. His phone buzzed. A text from Zoe. Is it amazing? Send pictures. He smiled and took a photo of the view, sent it back. Pretty amazing. See you at 3:30. Can't wait. Love you, Daddy. Love you too, baby girl. He set down the phone and got to work. The first test flight was scheduled for Thursday. 3 days to prepare. 3 days to prove he belonged here. He was ready. Dr. Chen knocked on his door 2 hours later. Mr. Webb, we have a problem. Marcus looked up from the paperwork. What kind of problem? The FAA certification. We submitted the expedited request like we planned, but there's a complication. What complication? Chen came in and closed the door. His face was troubled. Someone filed a complaint, anonymous, claiming that your medical discharge from the Air Force should disqualify you from civilian certification. They're saying your spinal injury makes you a safety risk. Marcus felt cold. Who filed it? We don't know. It was anonymous. But whoever it was had access to your military medical records. Detailed access. Those records are sealed. I know. Which means someone with serious connections is trying to sabotage you. Marcus leaned back in his chair. Thought about who would want him gone. Who had the power and the motive. What happens now? The FAA is launching a review. Could take weeks, maybe months. Until it's resolved, you can't fly. Can't fly at all. Not officially. Not as a certified test pilot. Chen paused. I'm sorry, Marcus. I know this isn't what you wanted to hear on your first day. Marcus was quiet for a moment. The weight of it settled on his shoulders. A door opening only to slam shut again. Then he took a breath. Okay, he said. Chen blinked. Okay. That's it. I've survived worse setbacks than paperwork. I'll fight this. Whatever it takes, however long it takes. He stood up and looked out the window at the Valkyrie. In the meantime, I can still consult, still train, still teach. The certification doesn't stop me from being useful. You're not angry. I'm furious. But anger doesn't solve problems. Action does. He turned back to Chen. Do we know anything about who might have filed this complaint? Not yet, but I have some ideas. Share them. There's a man named Douglas Hartwell. He was our original choice for test pilot before his accident. He's recovered now, and he's been lobbying hard to get his position back. The skiing accident? Yes, he broke both arms, but they've healed. He's been cleared for flight by his doctors. Chen hesitated. He's also Victoria's ex-fiancé. Marcus raised an eyebrow. Ex-fiancé. They were engaged 2 years ago, It ended badly, very publicly. There's a lot of bad blood there. And you think he's trying to sabotage me to get his job back? I think he's the kind of man who would do anything to get what he wants. And right now, he wants you gone. Marcus absorbed this information. Politics. Power plays. The same games people played everywhere, whether in boardrooms or battlefields. Where is he now? He has an office on the 4th floor. He's technically still employed as a consultant, but everyone knows he's just waiting for an opportunity. I want to meet him. That's not a good idea. Why not? Because Douglas Hartwell is dangerous. He's charming on the surface, but underneath he's ruthless. He'll say whatever he thinks will hurt you most. I've met dangerous men before. Marcus headed for the door. 4th floor. Marcus wait. But Marcus was already gone. The 4th floor was quieter than the executive level. Smaller offices. Fewer windows. The consultant wing where people waited for opportunities that might never come. Marcus found the office with Douglas Hartwell's name on the door. He knocked. Come in. He opened the door. Douglas Hartwell sat behind a desk that was too big for the small room. He was handsome in that polished way that rich people often were. Perfect hair, perfect teeth. The kind of tan you got from expensive vacations. He looked up and his smile flickered for just a moment when he saw Marcus. Then it returned wider than before. Marcus Webb, the famous flying janitor. He stood and extended his hand. I've been wanting to meet you. Marcus shook it. Firm grip. Too firm. The kind of handshake that was meant to establish dominance. Mr. Hartwell. Please call me Doug. Everyone does. He gestured to a chair. Sit, sit. Can I get you anything water, coffee? I'm fine. Suit yourself. Doug sat back down, still smiling. So, what brings you to my humble corner of the building? I wanted to introduce myself, since we'll be working together. Will we? I heard there were some complications with your certification. News travels fast. It does in this company. Very little happens without me knowing about it. Doug's smile didn't reach his eyes. Must be frustrating. Coming so close to your dream job only to have it snatched away by bureaucracy. I'm not worried. These things have a way of working out. Do they? I'm not so sure. The FAA takes medical disqualifications very seriously. A spinal injury. Chronic pain. Potential for sudden incapacitation. Doug shook his head. Sounds like a safety nightmare to me. My doctors cleared me. Military doctors. Who were probably pressured to clear you because of your hero status. Doug leaned forward. Look, Marcus. Can I be honest with you? Please. You don't belong here. This isn't a criticism. It's just a fact. You're a soldier, a war hero. But this is a business, a corporate environment. There are rules here, protocols, ways of doing things that you don't understand. I'm a fast learner. Are you? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you stumbled into something you're not prepared for. Victoria brought you in because of a viral video, not because of your qualifications. And viral fame fades fast. Marcus kept his face neutral. Is that what you think happened? That's what everyone thinks. The janitor who got lucky. The feel-good story that'll be forgotten in a month. Doug stood up and walked to the window. I've been in this industry for 15 years. I've flown more aircraft types than you can name. I was the best test pilot this company ever had before my accident. And now I'm fully recovered and ready to reclaim my position, which I would have done quietly and professionally if you hadn't shown up and turned everything into a circus. I didn't ask for the attention. But you got it. And now you're in my way. Doug turned back to face him. So here's what's going to happen. The FAA review is going to find issues with your medical history. Serious issues. And when it does, you'll be disqualified from flying. Victoria will have no choice but to give me back my job. And you'll go back to mopping floors where you belong. Marcus stood up slowly. You filed the complaint. I don't know what you're talking about. You had access to my military records. You knew exactly what to report to trigger a review. Doug's smile turned cold. Prove it. They stood there for a moment, two men who understood exactly what the other was capable of. Let me tell you something, Doug. Marcus's voice was quiet but steady. I've faced men who wanted to kill me, men with weapons and training and nothing to lose. They couldn't break me. He stepped closer. You think paperwork is going to stop me? You think some anonymous complaint is going to send me running? I spent 2 years invisible in this building, watching, waiting, learning. I know how this place works better than you ever will. Doug's smile faltered. So go ahead. File your complaints. Play your games. But understand this. Marcus met his eyes directly. I don't lose. Not to bureaucrats. Not to businessmen. And definitely not to men like you. He turned and walked out. Behind him, he heard Doug's voice slightly shaken. You're making a mistake, Webb. I have friends in places you can't imagine. Marcus didn't look back. So do I. He walked back to his office. His hands were steady. His heart was calm. He had faced worse enemies than Douglas Hartwell. And he had always won. Victoria was waiting for him when he got back. I heard you visited Doug. Word travels fast. I told you very little happens here without me knowing. She sat down in the chair across from his desk. What did he say? He's the one who filed the complaint. I suspected as much. And you didn't stop him. I didn't know for sure until now. Doug is clever. He covers his tracks. She paused. He's also my ex-fiancé. I heard. Then you probably heard it ended badly. What you might not have heard is why. Victoria looked out the window. Doug was everything my father wanted for me. Rich, connected, ruthless. We were the perfect power couple. What happened? I caught him embezzling from the company. $2 million over 3 years. He was funneling it to a startup he owned secretly, going to use it to launch a competing company once he had enough capital. You didn't press charges. My father was dying. I didn't want the scandal, so I quietly ended the engagement and buried the evidence. She shook her head. My biggest mistake. I should have destroyed him when I had the chance. Why are you telling me this? Because Doug Hartwell is going to come after you with everything he has, and I want you to know what you're dealing with. Victoria met his eyes. He's smart, he's connected, and he's vindictive. Breaking his arms wasn't an accident. Marcus went still. What? The skiing accident. Doug doesn't ski. He hates the cold. But he needed a cover story for why he couldn't fly while he set up his sabotage. She leaned forward. I think he broke his own arms, deliberately, so he could claim disability while he positioned himself to take over once I failed. That's insane. That's Doug. He plays the long game, and he plays to win. Marcus absorbed this, the picture becoming clearer and darker at the same time. What do you want me to do? I want you to beat him, not through games or politics, through excellence. Victoria stood up. Prove to the FAA that you're the best pilot they've ever certified. Make the evidence so overwhelming that no complaint can stop you. And when Doug comes for you, be ready. I'm always ready. I know. She walked to the door. That's why I hired you. She left. Marcus sat alone in his office. The Valkyrie sat below waiting. 3 days until Thursday. 3 days until he was supposed to prove himself. Now, everything had changed. He picked up his phone, dialed a number he hadn't called in 2 years. It rang 4 times. Hello. Colonel Richards. This is Marcus Webb. I need a favor. Silence on the other end. Then, Webb, I was wondering when you'd call. I saw the video. Then you know why I'm calling. Someone's trying to ground you, using your medical records. Yes, sir. And you need me to make some calls. If you're willing. More silence. Then a low chuckle. Son, I've been waiting 2 years for you to ask me for help. You saved 43 of my men in Kandahar. You think I'm going to let some corporate weasel take you down? Marcus felt something warm spread through his chest. Gratitude. Relief. Thank you, sir. Don't thank me yet. I'm going to make calls, but you're going to have to do your part. The FAA needs to see that you're still capable. That means flying, officially or otherwise. I understand. Good. Now get your ass in the air, Major. That's an order. Yes, sir. The line went dead. Marcus set down the phone, looked out the window at the Valkyrie. The fight was just beginning, but for the first time in a long time, he wasn't fighting alone. At 3:30, Zoe burst through the door of his office like a small hurricane. Daddy, this place is so cool. There's a room with my name on the door and snacks and a computer, and I can see the helicopters from the window. Marcus caught her in a hug, laughing. I take it you like it? I love it. She pulled back and looked at him seriously. Are you okay? You look worried. Too perceptive. Way too perceptive. I'm fine, baby. Just a lot to learn on the first day. Is someone being mean to you? What makes you ask that? Because you have the same face you had when Mama was sick. The face that says you're scared but you don't want me to know. Marcus knelt down so they were eye to eye. There's a man here who doesn't want me to succeed. He's trying to stop me from flying. Why? Because he wants my job. And because some people can't stand to see others do well. That's stupid. Yeah, it is. Are you going to let him win? Marcus thought about Colonel Richards, about Victoria, about everyone who was fighting in his corner. No, baby, I'm not going to let him win. Good. Zoe hugged him again. Because you're the best pilot in the world, and nobody can stop you from flying. Nobody. Marcus held his daughter tight. She was right. Nobody could stop him. Not anymore. Colonel Richards called back at 6 a.m. Tuesday morning. Webb, we have a problem. Marcus sat up in bed, instantly alert. What kind of problem? The complaint against you went higher than I thought. Someone leaked your medical records to a senator. Senator Blackwood. He's on the Aviation Safety Committee. Blackwood. He's been trying to tighten pilot certification requirements for years. Exactly. And now he's got a perfect case study. War hero with a spinal injury trying to fly civilian aircraft. He's calling for a full congressional review. Marcus felt his stomach drop. Congressional review. Public hearings. Media coverage. The whole circus. Colonel Richards paused. Son, this is beyond what I can fix with phone calls. Whoever is behind this has serious political connections. Douglas Hartwell. The name came up. His father is a major donor to Blackwood's campaign. Has been for 20 years. Of course. The pieces fell into place. Doug wasn't just playing corporate games. He was using his family's political power to destroy Marcus's career permanently. What are my options? Right now, not many. The FAA has frozen your certification application pending the congressional review. Could take months, maybe longer. Months. I'm sorry, Marcus. I tried. I know you did. Thank you, sir. Don't give up yet. Sometimes these things have a way of turning around, but you need to be prepared for a fight. I'm always prepared for a fight. I know you are. That's why you're still alive. Colonel Richards's voice softened. Take care of yourself, Webb, and take care of that little girl of yours. Yes, sir. The line went dead. Marcus sat in the darkness of his bedroom. The clock read 6:07 a.m. In 2 hours, he would have to go to work. Pretend everything was fine. Face Doug Hartwell, knowing the man had just torpedoed his entire future. His phone buzzed. A text from Victoria. I heard. My office, 8 a.m. We need to talk. He texted back. I'll be there. Then he got up and started getting ready. Whatever was coming, he would face it standing. Zoe was already awake when he came out of the bedroom. She was sitting at the kitchen table with a bowl of cereal watching him. Bad news, she asked. How do you know? Your shoulders are tight, like when Mama's doctors called. Marcus sat down across from her. Things at work got complicated. The man who's trying to stop you. Yeah, he made it worse. How much worse? Marcus considered lying, considered protecting her from the truth. But Denise had always believed in honesty with Zoe, even when it was hard. He got politicians involved, important people who can make it really difficult for me to ever fly again. Zoe was quiet for a moment. Then she reached across the table and took his hand. Mama used to say that the only way to lose is to stop trying. When did she say that? When she was sick, when the medicine wasn't working. She told me that as long as she kept trying, she was still winning, even if it didn't look like it. Marcus felt tears prick his eyes. She was right. So don't stop trying, Daddy. Okay, no matter what happens. Okay, baby, I won't stop. Promise. I promise. She squeezed his hand. 11 years old, holding her father together when he was falling apart. I love you, Daddy. I love you too, Zoe, more than anything. Victoria was pacing when Marcus arrived at her office. Close the door, she said. He closed it. I've been on the phone all morning. Doug's father is Edward Hartwell. He's worth $3 billion. Oil money. He's been funding Senator Blackwood's campaigns since the 90s. I know. Colonel Richards told me. What Colonel Richards probably didn't tell you is that Edward Hartwell has been trying to acquire Aerosky for 5 years. My father rejected every offer. I've done the same. Marcus understood immediately. This isn't just about Doug getting his job back. No. It's about destroying me. Destroying this company. Doug is the weapon, but Edward Hartwell is the one pulling the trigger. So what do? Victoria stopped pacing. We fight, but not the way they expect. What do you mean? They're expecting us to play defense, to hide, to let the congressional review drag on while the company bleeds. She sat down at her desk. Instead, we go on offense. How? The Valkyrie launch is in 12 days. If we can prove that our aircraft is safe and that our pilot is qualified, public opinion will turn in our favor. No senator wants to be seen blocking American innovation. But I can't fly. My certification is frozen. Officially, yes. Victoria leaned forward. But there's nothing stopping you from doing demonstration flights for media. Nothing stopping you from proving your skills publicly. If we generate enough positive coverage, the political pressure will shift. You want me to fly without certification? I want you to show the world who you are. The certification is just paperwork. Your skills are real. Let people see them. Marcus thought about it. It was risky. If anything went wrong, he would be blamed. Victoria would be blamed. The company could be destroyed. But if he did nothing, Doug won anyway. When? He asked. Thursday. We have a media event scheduled. 200 journalists, live streaming worldwide. Victoria met his eyes. I'm going to announce that you're our chief test pilot, and then you're going to fly the Valkyrie in front of the entire world. Without FAA certification, that announcement could backfire. It could. Or it could force their hand, make them look petty and bureaucratic for blocking a war hero. You're gambling everything on this. I'm gambling on you. Victoria stood up and walked to the window. My father never gambled. He calculated every move, planned every outcome, and you know what? He died miserable and alone. I don't want to live like that. Why are you trusting me with this? You barely know me. Victoria turned to face him. Because you could have destroyed me, in that hangar, when you landed the helicopter. You could have humiliated me in front of everyone, called me out, made me look like the villain I was. I thought about it. I know. I saw it in your eyes. But you didn't do it. You smiled and suggested coffee. She shook her head. Nobody in my entire life has ever shown me that kind of grace. So yeah, I'm trusting you. Maybe it's stupid, but I'm trusting you. Marcus was silent for a long moment. Thursday, he finally said. I'll be ready. Thank you, Marcus. Don't thank me yet. Thank me when this is over." The next 2 days were chaos. Marcus spent every waking hour preparing, studying the Valkyrie systems, running simulations, planning maneuvers that would showcase the aircraft's capabilities without taking unnecessary risks. Dr. Chen worked alongside him, equally driven. "The autopilot calibration needs adjustment," Chen said on Wednesday night. They had been in the hangar for 12 hours. "The response time is 0.3 seconds too slow on hard banks. Can we fix it before tomorrow?" "We can try." "Trying isn't good enough. I need certainty." Chen looked at him. "Marcus, nobody can give you certainty. Not in this business. We do our best and we trust the machines we've built." In combat, trusting the machine wasn't enough. You had to know it, feel it, understand its limits better than the engineers who designed it. "And do you know this machine?" Marcus looked at the Valkyrie. $20 million of cutting-edge technology, different from anything he had flown in the military. And yet, "Yeah," he said quietly, "I know it." "Then you'll be fine tomorrow. The machine is ready. The question is whether you are." "I've been ready my whole life." Chen smiled. "I believe you." They worked until midnight. Then Marcus drove home, kissed Zoe goodnight, and lay awake in the darkness until dawn. Thursday morning arrived gray and overcast. Marcus stood in front of his mirror again. Today he wasn't wearing the dress shirt. Today he was wearing a flight suit. The first one he had worn in 2 years, 3 months, and 21 days. It still fit. "Daddy, you look like a superhero." Zoe stood in the doorway, already dressed in her purple dress, ready for the biggest day of her father's new life. "I feel like I'm going to throw up." "That's normal. Mama said butterflies mean you care about something." "Your mama was very smart." "I know." Zoe walked over and hugged him. "You're going to be amazing." "How do you know?" "Because you're my daddy, and my daddy can do anything." Marcus held her tight, drew strength from her certainty. "Let's go make history," he said. The hangar was transformed. Bleachers had been set up for the media. Camera crews from every major network jostled for position. Satellite trucks lined the parking lot. The whole world was watching. And in the center of it all, the Valkyrie V9 waited. Marcus walked through the crowd, Zoe's hand in his. People pointed, whispered. Cameras followed his every move. Jerome found him near the staging area. "Brother, you ready for this?" "As ready as I'll ever be." "I got the day off to watch. Wouldn't miss this for anything." Jerome knelt down to Zoe's level. "And who's this beautiful young lady?" "This is my daughter, Zoe. This is Jerome. He's my friend." "Hi, Jerome. My daddy says you're a good person." Jerome laughed. "Your daddy is too kind. You take care of him, okay? He's about to do something incredible." "I know. He's going to fly." "Yes, he is. Yes, he is." Victoria approached with a tablet in her hand. Her face was tense. "We have a problem." Marcus felt his stomach clench. "What now?" "Senator Blackwood released a statement 30 minutes ago. He's calling for your arrest if you fly today. Says it's a violation of FAA regulations. Says you're endangering public safety." "Can he do that?" "Legally. It's a gray area, but the threat alone might spook our investors. 3 of them have already called asking what's going on." "So what do we do?" Victoria looked at the crowd, the cameras, the expectant faces. "We do exactly what we planned. You fly, you show them who you are, and we let the world decide who's right. And if they try to arrest me, then you'll be arrested on live television for the crime of being too good at your job. The PR writes itself." Marcus almost laughed. "You're crazy." "Maybe, but crazy got me this far." Victoria touched his arm. "You've got this, Marcus. I believe in you." She walked toward the podium to begin her speech. Marcus looked down at Zoe. "Baby, I need you to go with Jerome. Stay in the observation room. Watch through the window. Can you do that? Yes, Daddy. I'll wave to you before I take off. I'll wave back. He hugged her one more time. Then Jerome led her away. Marcus walked toward the Valkyrie, alone. Victoria's voice echoed through the speakers. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. Aero Sky Corporation is proud to present the Valkyrie V9, the most advanced civilian helicopter ever created. Marcus tuned out the words, focused on the aircraft in front of him, on the pre-flight check he had memorized. He circled the Valkyrie, checked every surface, every component. His hands moved automatically, guided by decades of training. And piloting this demonstration flight will be our new chief test pilot, Major Marcus Webb, United States Air Force, retired. A decorated combat veteran with over 4,000 flight hours and 324 combat missions. The crowd murmured. Cameras clicked. Marcus climbed into the cockpit, settled into the seat, put on the helmet. Through the observation window, he could see Zoe's face. She was waving just like she promised. He waved back. Despite recent political controversy, we at Aero Sky stand firmly behind Major Webb. His skills and qualifications are beyond question. Today, he will prove that to the world. Marcus began the startup sequence. Switches flipped. Systems activated. The instrument panel came alive. The rotor began to spin. And then everything went wrong. Warning lights flashed across the console. Red, yellow, red. An alarm screamed in his headset. Engine failure! Engine failure! Primary hydraulics offline! Marcus's hands flew across the controls, checking, diagnosing, understanding. This wasn't a malfunction. The system had been sabotaged. Someone had tampered with the Valkyrie. The rotor was spinning at full speed now, but the hydraulics weren't responding. Without hydraulics, he couldn't control the pitch. Couldn't steer. The helicopter was about to become a 2-ton spinning death trap. He had seconds to decide. Shut down and abort. Let Doug win. Let the sabotage destroy the demonstration and the company. Or fly anyway. Use manual override. Push the aircraft beyond its design limits. Risk everything. Marcus thought about Zoe, about Denise, about 43 soldiers in Kandahar who were alive because he had refused to give up. He flipped the manual override switch. "Come on, baby," he whispered to the machine. "Don't fail me now." The Valkyrie lifted off the ground, shuddering, fighting, straining against physics, but rising. In the observation window, Zoe pressed her hands against the glass. Jerome was yelling something to someone. Victoria stood frozen at the podium. Marcus climbed. 20 feet, 50 feet, 100 feet. The controls were sluggish, unresponsive. Every maneuver took 3 times the normal effort. His arms screamed with strain. His injured knee throbbed as he worked the pedals. But he flew. He flew like he had never flown before. Not with the precision of the first demonstration. This was raw, desperate. A man wrestling a broken machine into submission through sheer will. He couldn't do the combat maneuvers he had planned. Couldn't show off the Valkyrie's capabilities. He could barely keep the aircraft level, but he kept it in the air. 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes. The longest 7 minutes of his life. Finally, he brought the Valkyrie down. The landing was rough, harder than he wanted, but the skids touched concrete and held. He was alive. The crowd was silent for a moment. Then someone started clapping. Someone else joined. And then everyone was on their feet, applauding, cheering, shouting his name. Marcus sat in the cockpit, hands shaking, sweat pouring down his face. He had done it. Whatever sabotage Doug had planned, it hadn't been enough. He opened the cockpit door and climbed out. His legs were unsteady. His whole body was trembling. Victoria ran toward him. "Marcus! What happened? The telemetry showed system failures across the board." "Sabotage." His voice was hoarse. "Someone tampered with the hydraulics. Made it look like it would fail on takeoff." Victoria's face went white. Doug! Has to be. We need evidence. We need to prove. Victoria. Marcus grabbed her arm. Look at me. She looked. I just flew a sabotaged helicopter on live television and landed it safely. Whatever Doug was planning, it backfired. The whole world just watched me save a $20 million aircraft with nothing but manual controls. Victoria stared at him. Then she started laughing. Hysterical, relieved, disbelieving laughter. You're right. Oh my God, you're right. He tried to destroy you, and he made you a legend instead. Where is he? I don't know. He was here earlier, but... Marcus! Dr. Chen was running toward them, tablet in hand. The flight recorder. I pulled the data. The hydraulic sabotage was done from inside the system. Someone with engineering access uploaded malicious code to the flight computer. Can you trace it? Already did. It came from Douglas Hartwell's security credentials. He logged in at 3 a.m. this morning. Marcus and Victoria exchanged looks. Where is Doug now? Victoria demanded. Security just spotted him trying to leave through the service entrance. They're holding him. Victoria's expression hardened. Bring him to my office. Now. She turned to Marcus. Come with me. This ends today. They found Doug in Victoria's office, flanked by 2 security guards. He was sweating, his perfect composure cracking. This is ridiculous, he sputtered. I haven't done anything. You can't hold me here. We have the flight recorder data, Victoria said coldly. We have your credentials. We have timestamp evidence showing you accessed the Valkyrie's computer at 3 a.m. Doug's face went pale. That's impossible. Someone must have stolen my credentials. I was home all night. Your building's security footage shows you leaving at 2:37 a.m. and returning at 4:15 a.m. It's over, Doug. Marcus stepped forward. You tried to sabotage the demonstration. You could have killed me. You could have killed people on the ground. I just wanted to scare you. The hydraulics were supposed to fail on startup, not in the air. You weren't supposed to actually fly. But I did, because I'm not like you. I don't give up when things get hard. Doug's composure shattered completely. You don't understand. That job was mine. I spent 15 years building my career here. Then you show up some washed-up janitor with a good story, and suddenly you're the hero. You're the one everyone loves. It's not fair. Life isn't fair, Marcus said quietly. But that doesn't give you the right to destroy other people. You destroyed me. You and Victoria both. She ruined my reputation when she ended our engagement. Now you're taking my job, my future, everything. You ruined yourself, Doug. Victoria's voice was ice. I covered up your embezzlement because I didn't want the scandal. That was my mistake. I should have exposed you then. Embezzlement. One of the security guards looked confused. Ma'am. Call the police, Victoria said. Tell them we have evidence of corporate sabotage, attempted destruction of company property, and reckless endangerment. Mr. Hartwell will be waiting for them. You can't do this, Doug screamed as the guards grabbed him. My father will destroy you. He'll buy this company and burn it to the ground. Let him try. Victoria watched as they dragged Doug away. I'm not afraid of him anymore. I'm not afraid of anyone. The door slammed shut. Silence. Victoria turned to Marcus. Her eyes were wet. I'm sorry. This is my fault. If I had dealt with Doug properly years ago... Don't. Marcus held up his hand. You didn't sabotage that helicopter. He did. The only person responsible for his choices is him. But you could have died. I didn't. But you could have. Her voice broke. And it would have been because I was too weak to deal with my past. Marcus was quiet for a moment. Victoria, can I tell you something? What? When my wife was dying, I blamed myself. For every deployment, every missed birthday, every night I wasn't there. I told myself that if I had been a better husband, If I had been home more, maybe she wouldn't have gotten sick. Maybe I could have caught it earlier. That's not how cancer works. I know that now. But guilt doesn't care about logic. It just eats at you until you either let it consume you or you learn to forgive yourself. Victoria wiped her eyes. How do you forgive yourself? You don't do it all at once. You do it one day at a time, one decision at a time. You try to be better than you were yesterday. He paused. You're already doing that. The fact that you're standing here crying because someone else almost got hurt, that's not the Victoria Sterling I met 2 weeks ago. No, that Victoria would have been calculating the PR damage. Exactly. So give yourself some credit. You're changing. That's not nothing. Victoria took a shaky breath. Thank you, Marcus, for everything. Thank me by being the leader your employees deserve. That's all I ask. I will, I promise. Marcus nodded. Now if you'll excuse me, I need to find my daughter. She's probably scared out of her mind. Of course. Go. He walked to the door, paused. Victoria. Yes. That coffee you mentioned. I think I'm ready for it now. She smiled through her tears. Me too. Zoe was crying when Marcus found her in the observation room. Daddy. She threw herself into his arms. I was so scared the helicopter was shaking and the lights were flashing and everyone was screaming. I know, baby, I know, but I'm okay. See, I'm right here. I thought you were going to crash, like in Mama's stories, when you got hurt. Marcus held her tighter. That was a long time ago, and I didn't crash then either. Promise you won't crash. Promise you'll always come back. He wanted to promise. God, how he wanted to promise. But he had learned long ago that you couldn't promise what you couldn't control. I promise I will always do everything I can to come back to you, he said. That's the best promise I can make. Zoe sniffled. Okay, that's good enough. Yeah, because you're the best pilot in the world, and the best pilots always find a way. Marcus kissed the top of her head. I love you, Zoe. I love you too, Daddy. They stood there holding each other while the chaos of the world swirled around them. And for that moment, nothing else mattered. The news broke within the hour. Douglas Hartwell had been arrested on charges of corporate sabotage, reckless endangerment, and attempted destruction of property. The footage of Marcus landing the crippled helicopter played on every network. By evening, it had been viewed over 50 million times. But Marcus wasn't watching the news. He was sitting on his apartment floor with Zoe eating pizza and pretending the world outside didn't exist. Daddy, your phone keeps buzzing. I know, baby. Aren't you going to answer it? Tomorrow. Tonight is just for us. Zoe took another bite of pizza. Is the bad man going to jail? Probably. Good. He tried to hurt you. He did, but he failed. Because you're the best pilot in the world. Marcus smiled. Because I had something worth fighting for. Me. You. Always you. Zoe leaned against his shoulder. They sat like that for a long time, father and daughter surrounded by pizza boxes and silence. Daddy? Yeah, baby. Mama would be proud of you. Marcus felt his throat tighten. You think so? I know so. She always said you were meant to fly. She said the sky was your home. She said that all the time, when you were away on missions. She would look up at the planes and say, your daddy is up there somewhere, Zoe. He's keeping the whole world safe. Tears burned in Marcus's eyes. He hadn't known. All those years of guilt of feeling like he had abandoned his family, and Denise had been telling their daughter that he was a hero. I miss her, he whispered. Me too. Zoe took his hand. But she's still watching. I can feel her sometimes. When I'm scared or sad, I feel something warm like a hug. I think that's her. I think you're right, baby. So she saw you today. She saw you fly. Marcus looked up at the ceiling, through it, through the roof and the clouds, and into whatever heaven existed beyond. Yeah, he said softly. She saw me fly. The next morning, Marcus's phone showed 847 missed calls and over 3,000 text messages. He ignored all of them except one. Colonel Richards, turn on the news now. Marcus turned on the television. Senator Blackwood was standing at a podium surrounded by reporters. His face was pale. His usual confidence was gone. In light of new evidence, I am withdrawing my objection to Major Webb's FAA certification. The congressional review has been canceled. I want to be clear that my concerns were based on incomplete information, and I apologize for any harm my statements may have caused. A reporter shouted a question. Senator, are you aware that Douglas Hartwell's father has been a major donor to your campaigns? Blackwood's jaw tightened. I have no comment on campaign contributions at this time. Senator, did Edward Hartwell pressure you to target Major Webb? I said no comment. The press conference dissolved into chaos. Marcus turned off the television. His phone rang. Colonel Richards. You watching this? I saw it. Blackwood is finished. The connection to Hartwell's money is already all over social media. He'll be lucky if he survives the next election. What about Edward Hartwell? The FBI is investigating. Doug is cooperating, trying to get a lighter sentence. Word is he's implicating his father in all kinds of things. This goes deeper than just you, Marcus. There's corruption going back decades. So it's over. The political part. Yeah, your certification should be approved within the week. You're clear to fly. Marcus closed his eyes. Let the relief wash over him. Thank you, sir, for everything. Don't thank me. You did this yourself. All I did was make some calls. Colonel Richards paused. Your father would be proud of you, Marcus. He was my best friend. Served together in Vietnam. Did I ever tell you that? No, sir. He saved my life twice. Once in combat, once from drinking myself to death after we came home. When he died, I promised myself I'd look out for you. Took me too long to honor that promise, but I'm glad I finally got the chance. Marcus felt something shift in his chest. His father had died when Marcus was 16. Car accident. He barely remembered him. I didn't know you knew him. There's a lot you don't know, son. Maybe someday we'll sit down and I'll tell you stories. But for now, just know this. You come from good people. Strong people. The kind who don't quit no matter what life throws at them. Yes, sir. Now go live your life. You've earned it. The line went dead. Marcus sat there for a long moment holding the phone, thinking about his father, his mother, Denise, all the people who had shaped him into who he was. Then Zoe appeared in the doorway, still in her pajamas. Daddy, is everything okay? Everything is perfect, baby. Everything is finally perfect. 1 week later, Marcus Webb received his official FAA certification. The ceremony was small. Just Victoria, Dr. Chen Jerome, and a few other colleagues. And Zoe, of course, wearing her purple dress and beaming like the sun. The FAA official handed Marcus the certificate. Congratulations, Mr. Webb. You are now certified to fly civilian rotorcraft in the United States. Thank you. For what it's worth, I watched the footage of your demonstration flight. I've been in aviation for 30 years. That was the finest piece of emergency piloting I've ever seen. I had good training. You had more than training. You had courage. The official shook his hand. The sky is lucky to have you back. After the ceremony, Victoria found Marcus alone in the hangar looking at the Valkyrie. It had been repaired, the sabotaged systems replaced. It gleamed under the lights waiting for him. How does it feel? She asked. Surreal. Like waking up from a dream and realizing it was real all along. You earned this, Marcus. Every bit of it. I didn't do it alone. No. But you inspired the rest of us to be better. Victoria stood beside him looking at the helicopter. I fired 12 executives this week. People who had been treating service staff like dirt for years. Jerome is now head of facilities management with a 40% raise. He deserves it. He does. So do a lot of people I never bothered to see before. She turned to face him. You changed me, Marcus. I know it sounds dramatic, but it's true. I was becoming my father. Cold, cruel, blind to everyone beneath me. You held up a mirror and forced me to look. I didn't do anything special. I just did my job. No, you did much more than that. You showed me that dignity isn't something you earn with money or titles. It's something everyone deserves just by being human. Marcus was quiet for a moment. Victoria, can I ask you something? Anything. That coffee you offered, is the offer still open? She smiled. A real smile, warm and genuine. It's always open. How about Saturday Zoe has a sleepover at her friend's house? I'll have the evening free. Saturday works. It's a date then. Victoria raised an eyebrow. A date. Coffee. Between two people who are trying to figure out how to be better. Whatever you want to call it. I'll call it a start. A start works. They stood there in comfortable silence, looking at the Valkyrie. Are you going to fly today? Victoria asked. Yeah, first official flight as chief test pilot. Nervous. A little, but mostly excited. He turned to her. Want to watch? I wouldn't miss it. The flight was everything Marcus had dreamed of. No sabotage, no emergencies, no political conspiracies, just a man and a machine and the endless sky. He took the Valkyrie up slowly at first, getting reacquainted with the controls. The aircraft responded beautifully, every system humming in perfect harmony. Then he opened up. He flew like he used to fly, like he had always been meant to fly. Aggressive, but controlled. Pushing limits but never crossing them. Dancing through the air like gravity was just a suggestion. Below in the observation room, Zoe watched with her face pressed against the glass. Jerome stood beside her, shaking his head in wonder. Victoria watched with tears in her eyes. And somewhere Marcus knew Denise was watching too. He landed after 30 minutes. Smooth as silk. The helicopter touched down without even a tremor. When he climbed out of the cockpit, his team was waiting, applauding, cheering. Zoe broke through the crowd and ran to him. Daddy, that was amazing! You did loops and spins and that thing where you went sideways. Did you like it? I loved it. Can I learn to fly too? When I'm older, will you teach me? Marcus laughed. If that's what you want, baby. I'll teach you everything I know. Promise? Promise. Jerome clapped him on the shoulder. Brother, I've watched a lot of pilots in my day, but I've never seen anyone fly like you. Thanks, Jerome. No, thank you. For everything. For showing me that it's never too late to be seen. Jerome's voice cracked slightly. My son called me yesterday. First time in 3 years. He saw me on the news, standing next to you. He said he was proud of me. That's wonderful, Jerome. It is. And it wouldn't have happened without you. You didn't just change this company, Marcus. You changed all of us. Dr. Chen approached with a tablet. The flight data is incredible. You pushed the Valkyrie to 97% of its theoretical limits. Our engineers are going to be analyzing this for months. Good. That's what test pilots are for. More than that, you've proven that this aircraft is everything we designed it to be. The launch next week is going to be a success. I can feel it. We'll make it a success, Marcus said. Together. The launch of the Valkyrie V9 took place on a clear Saturday morning. 2,000 people filled the observation area. Media from around the world. Investors from 7 countries. Government officials. Military brass. Everyone who mattered in aviation. And in the front row, Zoe Webb sat between Jerome and Victoria, wearing her purple dress and holding a small American flag. Marcus stood backstage waiting for his cue. His heart was pounding. Not from fear. From gratitude. 6 months ago he had been invisible. A janitor. A man who had lost everything and was just trying to survive. Now he was about to fly in front of the world. Victoria stepped up to the podium. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. What you're about to witness is the culmination of years of work, millions of dollars of investment, and the dedication of hundreds of employees. She paused. But more than that, it's a testament to the power of second chances, to the truth that people are more than their circumstances, to the belief that dignity and excellence can be found in the most unexpected places. She looked toward the hangar where Marcus was waiting. 6 months ago, I made a mistake. I mocked a man because of his job title. I assumed I knew everything about him based on the uniform he wore. I was wrong. The crowd was silent. That man is Marcus Webb. Major Marcus Webb, United States Air Force retired. A decorated combat veteran, a devoted father, and the finest pilot I have ever known. She smiled. Today he's going to show you why. The hangar doors opened. Marcus walked out into the sunlight. The crowd erupted. Applause, cheers, people on their feet. He didn't wave, didn't acknowledge the attention, just walked to the Valkyrie with the same steady purpose he had always carried. He climbed into the cockpit, started the engine, and flew. For 20 minutes, Marcus Webb reminded the world what excellence looked like. He performed maneuvers that the engineers said were impossible. He pushed the Valkyrie beyond its theoretical limits and proved that those limits were just numbers on a page. He flew with precision, with grace, with a joy that was visible even from the ground. When he landed, the applause lasted for 5 full minutes. Marcus climbed out of the cockpit and walked toward the podium. Victoria met him halfway and handed him the microphone. He looked out at the crowd, at the cameras, at the faces of strangers and friends alike. "I'm not good at speeches," he said. "Never have been, so I'll keep this short." The crowd quieted. 6 months ago, I was mopping floors in this building, not because I wanted to, because I had to. My wife was gone. My military career was over. My savings were gone. I needed a job that would let me be home for my daughter every night. He found Zoe in the crowd. She was crying, smiling and crying. I spent 2 years being invisible, and you know what? It wasn't all bad. When you're invisible, you see things other people miss. You learn what people are really like when they think no one important is watching. He paused. I learned that this company was full of good people, hard workers, people who showed up every day and gave their best even when no one thanked them. Janitors, security guards, mailroom staff, the invisible army that keeps everything running. He looked at Jerome. I also learned that this company had a problem, a culture of blindness, where people only saw job titles, not human beings, where a man's worth was measured by his parking spot, not his character. He looked at Victoria. But I also learned that people can change, that even the coldest heart can thaw, that it's never too late to open your eyes and see the people you've been ignoring. Victoria wiped her eyes. So here's what I want to say to everyone watching, not just in this crowd, everyone around the world who's ever felt invisible, who's ever been dismissed because of their job, their appearance, their circumstances. Marcus's voice grew stronger. You matter. Your dignity is not negotiable. Your worth is not determined by your title, or your salary, or what other people think of you. It's determined by how you treat others, by the love you give, by the lives you touch. He held up his pilot certification. This piece of paper says I'm qualified to fly, but I was a pilot long before I had this certificate. I was a pilot when I was mopping floors. I was a pilot when I was invisible. The paper doesn't make you who you are. You make you who you are. The crowd was absolutely silent. So, if you're out there watching and you're struggling and you feel like nobody sees you, let me tell you something. The sky doesn't care about your job title. The sky doesn't care about your bank account. The sky is there for anyone brave enough to reach for it. He looked up. And it's a beautiful sky. The applause that followed was deafening. After the event, after the interviews, and the photographs, and the handshakes, Marcus finally found a quiet moment. He was standing alone in the hangar, looking at the Valkyrie when Zoe found him. Daddy. Hey baby, did you enjoy the show? It was the best day ever. She hugged him. Your speech made everyone cry. Including you. Especially me. He laughed and lifted her up. She was getting too big for this. Soon she would be too old. But not today. Daddy, can I ask you something? Anything. Are you happy now? Really happy? Like how you used to be before Mama got sick? Marcus thought about the question, really thought about it. For 2 years he had defined his life by loss, by what was taken from him. His career, his wife, his savings, his pride. But standing here with his daughter in his arms, and the Valkyrie behind him, and a future full of possibility ahead, he realized something. He hadn't lost anything that mattered. He still had Zoe. He still had his skills. He still had his integrity. He still had the ability to touch people's lives and make a difference. Everything else was just details. Yeah, baby, he said. I'm really happy. Good. Because I'm happy too. And Mama would be happy if she could see us. She can see us, Zoe. She's always watching. I know. Zoe rested her head on his shoulder. Daddy? Yeah. I want to be a pilot someday, like you. You can be anything you want, baby. I know, but I want to be a pilot. I want to fly. I want to help people like you helped those soldiers. I want to be brave. Marcus felt his heart swell. Then that's what you'll be. And I'll be there every step of the way. Promise. I promise. They stood there together, father and daughter, looking at the helicopter that had changed everything. Outside, the sun was setting. Golden light streamed through the hangar doors, painting everything in shades of amber and hope. Victoria appeared in the doorway. Marcus, there's someone here to see you. Who? Says his name is Colonel Richards. Says you two have some catching up to do. Marcus set Zoe down gently. Will you be okay for a few minutes, baby? I'll stay with Victoria. Zoe took Victoria's hand. We're friends now. Victoria looked surprised, but pleased. We are? Yeah, my daddy says you're trying to be a better person. That makes us friends. Victoria's eyes glistened. I like that logic. Marcus walked outside. Colonel Richards stood there in civilian clothes, looking older than Marcus remembered, but his eyes were the same, sharp, kind, full of stories. Colonel. Marcus. He extended his hand. Hell of a speech in there. Thank you, sir. Your father would have said the same thing, almost word for word. Richard smiled. You're more like him than you know. I wish I had known him better. Me too. But you know what he's in you. In the way you carry yourself. In the way you refuse to quit. In the way you see the dignity in everyone. They stood in silence for a moment. I brought you something. Richards reached into his pocket and pulled out a small object. This was your father's. He gave it to me the day before he died. Asked me to hold on to it until you were ready. He placed it in Marcus's hand. A pilot's wings, old, tarnished, but unmistakable. He wore those in Vietnam, Richards said. Through 2 tours and 63 missions. He said they were lucky, said they always brought him home. Marcus stared at the wings, his father's wings. Why now? Why give them to me now? Because you're ready, because you finally understand what they mean. Richards put a hand on his shoulder. Being a pilot isn't about the aircraft you fly. It's about the people you protect. Your father knew that. So do you. Marcus closed his hand around the wings. Thank you, sir, for everything. Don't thank me. Just keep flying. Keep making him proud. Richards turned and walked away. Marcus stood there until the sun disappeared below the horizon. Then he went back inside. Zoe was asleep in a chair, Victoria watching over her. She wore herself out, Victoria whispered. Big day. The biggest. Marcus looked at his daughter, at the woman who had become their unexpected friend, at the future that stretched out before them like an endless runway. "Ready to go home?" Victoria asked. "Yeah, I think we are." He picked up Zoe gently. She stirred, but didn't wake. "Marcus." "Yeah. That coffee date, it's still on, right?" "It's still on." "Good." Victoria smiled. "Because I think we have a lot to talk about." "I think we do too." They walked out of the hangar together into the cool night air. Above them, the stars were coming out. Thousands of them. Millions. An infinite sky full of infinite possibilities. Marcus looked up and thought about everything that had brought him to this moment. The losses, the struggles, the years of invisibility, the cruel joke that had changed his life. "Fly this helicopter and I'll marry you." He smiled. Maybe someday. But for now he had everything he needed. A daughter who loved him. A purpose that fulfilled him. A sky that welcomed him home. And the knowledge that no matter how far he fell, he could always rise again. Because that's what pilots do. They fly. 6 months later, Marcus Webb married Victoria Sterling in a small ceremony at Aerosky headquarters. Zoe was the flower girl. Jerome was the best man. Dr. Chen officiated because, as it turned out, he was ordained online and had always wanted to perform a wedding. There were no cameras, no media, just family and friends, and the Valkyrie gleaming in the background. When Marcus kissed his bride, Zoe cheered the loudest. And somewhere watching from beyond the sky, Denise Webb smiled. Her husband had found his way home. Not just to the cockpit, not just to the sky, but to love. To family, to the life he had always deserved. Marcus Webb had been invisible once. Now he was seen, and he would never be invisible again. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who needs to hear that their dignity is not defined by their job title. And remember, the sky doesn't care about your circumstances. It only cares if you're brave enough to reach for it.